Hi there everyone, welcome back to Press for Truth TV. Today is Friday, September 21st, 2012. And first off for today, I have some good news in regards to our report from yesterday, where we pointed out that there is a new study conducted into the long-term health effects of ingesting genetically modified organisms. And Health Canada has just announced that it is reviewing this study, and if it finds that the study is indeed correct, Health Canada says it will take the appropriate actions. Here is an article from Montreal Gazette. Health Canada to review GM corn study. Health Canada said Thursday it will take action if its review of a new study that found Canadian-grown genetically modified corn is linked to elevated risks of cancer, organ damage, and premature death in rats demonstrate a risk to Canadians. The first ever GM food safety study to test the entire lifespan of laboratory rats, newly published in a peer-reviewed scientific journal, Food and Chemical Toxicology, also found health impacts for rats exposed to Monsanto's herbicide Roundup, the widest selling herbicide in the world. The French study, while challenged by some experts, is being taken seriously by the French government. On Thursday, it ordered an urgent review of the study assessing the safety of GM corn and said it will work for a Europe-wide ban of imports of the corn if the findings were found to be conclusive. In Canada, where the GM corn is grown and used for animal feed and processed food ingredients, Health Canada said Thursday it would be premature to offer its assessment, saying that the departmental scientists are currently reviewing the findings. Should our review of this new study demonstrate a risk, Health Canada will take appropriate action to protect the health and safety of Canadians, the department said. And now I'll put a link to this article in the description so you can check it all out for yourself. But I just want to scroll ahead here to get to somebody who pointed out the real crux of the matter. And they get down to the main point here. Regulatory authorities around the world, including Health Canada, require mandatory chronic animal feeding studies involving rats before approving GM corn and other GM foods. But none require full lifespan tests. Instead, the tests usually consist of 90-day rat feeding trials conducted by the biotechnology company. How convenient. In our study, the tumors also developed considerably faster than the controls, even though the majority of tumors occurred at 4 to 7 months into the study in males and females, respectively, underlining the inadequacy of the standard 90-day feeding trials for evaluating GM crop and food toxicity, the study states. Lucy Charette of the Canadian Biotechnology Action Network zeroed in on this fact in calling for Health Canada to revamp its approval system. This is the first ever long-term study, and it also happens to be a peer-reviewed study on the corn that Health Canada approved based on a 90-day study from the company that wanted it approved. The federal government needs to redesign the entire system that approves GM foods because our regulations are not designed to look for the types of problems that these scientists have found. And indeed, the entire system needs to be revamped because all of these studies have been conducted under the Monsanto umbrella. So we'll just have to wait and see what Health Canada comes up with, and if they do find that these studies are correct, they say they're going to take appropriate action, so we're just going to have to wait and see and definitely hold them to that. Now, in other news today, who can forget the so-called Maple Spring, the uprising that took place in Quebec where thousands of protesters and students and people got out in the streets to protest the rise in the tuition fees, the tuition fees hike. Well, today the newly elected government in Quebec has announced that they are putting an end to the tuition hike. So you can chalk one up for the good guys. It looks like the Quebec students have won in this battle. Here is a recent article on that from macleans.ca. It's official. Quebec tuition hikes are history. The tuition increase that triggered such social strife in Quebec was cancelled Thursday during an action-packed first full day in office for the Parti Québécois government. The new government repealed the fee hike by decree in its first cabinet meeting less than 24 hours after coming to power. Student leaders cheered the news. "Together we've written a chapter in the history of Quebec," said Martin Desjardins, head of the more moderate University Student Association. "It's a triumph of justice and equity." Premier Pauline Marois has acted on a promise that she had made during the election campaign. She announced the decision at a news conference after the cabinet meeting. Marois said tuitions will go back to $2,168, the lowest in Canada. With the planned increases, it would have been $600 higher this year and would have kept growing each year. Marois said she will not decrease funding for universities and will make good on a promise to hold a summit on how to fund universities within her first 100 days as premier. So it looks like all of your hard work, all of your tireless marching and demonstrations and street actions have paid off. So again, we can chalk one up for the good guys today, guys. And you know, it's good to celebrate these victories when they happen because they are few and far between these days. But it goes to show that when you are dedicated, when you work hard, and when you just keep at it like the people of Quebec did, you can have some victories in these battles. And so on that note, I also wanted to point out the fact that if you happen to be watching this today and you live in the United States, tomorrow there is nationwide rallies going on, End the Fed rallies. So I would strongly encourage you, if you're not doing anything tomorrow, try to look up one of these rallies in your city. They're going on in cities all across the states tomorrow. This campaign to end the Fed, and maybe you can follow the example of some of the student protesters in Quebec who have just won their victory. So I'd strongly encourage you to do a similar thing and get out there in the streets tomorrow, get active, and join in on this campaign to end the Fed. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. I want to thank you all for tuning in once again. I hope everyone has a great weekend, and I'll see you all right back here on Monday. Take care.